Okay, let's dive into this incredible story of how a shark's skin is leading a revolution in medicine. It's a tale that connects a massive military problem, microscopic physics, and a solution that's been hiding in the ocean for about 400 million years.
So it all kicks off with this number, $1 billion. That's what the US Navy was spending every single year, fighting a relentless biological enemy that was silently crippling its entire fleet. And that enemy? It wasn't a new kind of submarine. It was biofouling, basically a living slime, a thick, gross carpet of algae, barnacles, and all sorts of microorganisms that clings to any surface in the water. This gunk isn't just ugly, it creates huge drag, forcing ships to burn up to 40% more fuel just to move.
Now, for decades, the Navy's solution was basically chemical warfare. They'd coat their ships in these highly toxic paints that would poison anything that tried to attach. But then, those paints got banned because they were causing catastrophic environmental damage. And just like that, the Navy had this massive problem with no non-chemical solution in sight.
This brings us to a key moment in 2002. A materials scientist named Dr. Anthony Brennan is standing on the dock in Pearl Harbor. He's looking at these submarines and ships, all covered in this green slime. He knows other slow-moving giants, like whales, also get covered in this stuff. But then it hits him. There's one major exception in the ocean, the shark.
Yeah, even the slowest sharks, the ones that just kind of chill on the seafloor, they stay perfectly clean, and they're not secreting some kind of poison or constantly cleaning themselves. He realized the shark's secret wasn't chemical. It had to be structural, hidden in the very architecture of its skin.
So Brennan, whose background was actually in dental materials, had a clever idea. He took some of that dental impression putty, the stuff your dentist uses, and made a mold of the shark skin. And when he put it under a microscope, wow! What looks smooth to the naked eye was actually this incredible organized landscape covered in millions of microscopic, tooth-like scales called dermal denticles, all arranged in this perfect ridged pattern.
So, how in the world does this microscopic pattern keep a massive shark clean? Well, it's not about being slippery, which is what you might think. Nope. It's all about the fundamental physics of wetting.
You see, any liquid on a surface can be in one of two states. In what's called the Wenzel state, the liquid sinks into all the grooves and maximizes its contact. But in the Cassie-Baxter state, the liquid just sits on top of the peaks, trapping tiny pockets of air or fluid underneath. It barely touches the actual surface. The shark's skin is a natural master at forcing the second, dry state.
And Dr. Brennan came up with the perfect analogy for this. For a tiny bacterium, which is only about 1 or 2 microns across, trying to land on this pattern is like a person trying to lie down on a bed of nails. It just can't get comfortable or find a good place to hold on.
So here's the crucial point. A bacterium's cell wall is pretty stiff. To make contact with the surface, it would have to physically bend itself down into those tiny 2-micron wide valleys. That takes energy. The Sharklet pattern is designed so the energy cost of landing is way higher than the benefit of attaching. So what does the bacterium do? It just gives up and floats away. It's a completely passive defense. And this is the real magic of the technology. See, the true danger of bacteria isn't a single cell. It's the biofilm. Think of it as a slimy fortress they build when they all get together. And these biofilms are up to 1,000 times more resistant to antibiotics. By preventing the first bacteria from landing, Sharklet stops the fortress from ever being built in the first place.
This is when the team had its big aha moment. They realized that the exact same physics that repels algae from a submarine could also repel one of humanity's biggest threats, hospital-acquired superbugs. The battlefield just shifted from the ocean to the ICU.
And the data from the lab studies was just staggering. The Sharklet pattern showed a 98% reduction in the attachment of MRSA, a 99.9% reduction in Pseudomonas biofilm, and it even cut down the migration of E. coli by 80%. We're talking about some of the most dangerous pathogens found in hospitals today.
Let's just visualize that for a second. Look at MRSA, that notorious hospital superbug. Compared to a normal smooth surface, the Sharklet pattern reduces its ability to stick and start a colony by 98%. It's not killing anything, it's just denying it a place to land.
This incredible performance led to a whole range of ideas for medical products designed to passively prevent infection, all without using any drugs or chemicals. We're talking urinary catheters, ventilator tubes, and even peel and stick films for high-touch surfaces like bed rails and doorknobs.
But here's where the story takes a fascinating and pretty unexpected turn.
Getting this brilliant, American-funded innovation from a lab and into mass-market products? Well, that revealed a surprising twist about the global economy.
So, this technology was born from a U.S. Navy grant, American taxpayer money. It was developed in the university lab in Florida. But then, in 2017, the company was acquired by a Chinese medical firm called Peaceful Union. They were the ones with the capital needed to solve the huge manufacturing challenges and actually scale production for a global market.
This is a classic example of what investors call the valley of death for physical products. Unlike software, making stuff requires massive, patient investment in factories and long regulatory trials. It's a journey a lot of Western VCs just aren't willing to fund. So you get this dynamic where the idea is American-born and taxpayer-funded, but the capital for mass production comes from Asia.
So, the big takeaway here is a fundamental shift in how we can think about hygiene and fighting infection. For a century, we've relied on a chemical approach: kill, poison, disinfect. This technology proves that a physical approach, just changing the texture of a surface, can be just as effective, if not more so.
And that just leaves you wondering, right? If the secret to defeating superbugs was hiding on a shark's back this whole time, what other revolutionary solutions are out there hiding in plain sight? All we have to do is learn to look at the world's oldest R&D lab, nature itself, and just start asking the right questions.